All right, here we go. Welcome to round 5 of Season 12 GT7 Championship here in ALR. This is Tier 3, and we are just at the halfway point of the season. This is going to be the start of the second half of the season. Just a quick recap of the first half. We have kind of a two-horse race going on at the moment between Skinsy and Peaky. Very, very close. I think there's 3 points in it starting this race. So really it's anyone's game heading into the second half of the season. Nice to see a few of you have already joined. So let's go through the grid and see how everyone's lining up on the start line for round 5 around Catelunya. This is a midnight race. Although even though it's midnight, you can see it's still got pretty good conditions in terms of visibility. It doesn't get totally 100% dark around here, which is why it was quite a good option for Group 3. A little bit cooler on track, a little bit easier on the tyres, because turn 3 and the final couple of corners are really harsh on the left tyres on the car and wear them pretty quickly. So yeah, let's go through the grid. We've got Kanata lining up last, unfortunately. Not very good qualifying for him. Struggling a little bit this season in the BRZ. And Woozy lining up alongside him in the GR Supra. Quite a low qualifying for Woozy there. Usually comfortably in the top 10. Brian in the Porsche is in P13. So he had a really, really good start to the season. And he's dropped off a little bit in the last few rounds. And struggling outside the top 10. There. Dado in P12, outside the top 10. He's usually round about the top 10 himself. And Prime Call, our reserve driver in the Ford Mustang, is lining up 11th. Whack Jamps has had a poor couple of rounds after getting a win in Spa. He lines up 10th in the Mazda, which is still top of the constructors. We've got Major Ecstasy in the Genesis X, lining up in P9. Had an absolute nightmare last time out and will be wanting a little bit better this race. Filthy P8 has shown some good speed this last couple of rounds, and he'll be hoping to get some podiums this season and maybe even a race win. Still waiting for that. And then we've got our championship leader with probably his worst qualifying of the season. I don't remember him qualifying this low down in any of the previous 4 rounds. He's lining up in P7 in the Beetle. We've got Pagel in P6. He's in the other Lexus, so lining up just ahead of Filthy there. And then Yuri with a very good qualifying for him in the Mercedes AMG. He is lining up 5th, by far his best qualifying showing to date. And same can be said for Hurricane, lining up P4 in the BRZ, so managing to extract a lot more pace out of that than his teammate. And then we have Skinsy, the current P2 in the championship, lining up in 3rd, but he got out qualified and misses out on the front row because Claus, who showed great pace last week, lines up 2nd in the Porsche, and Denz, who's P3 in the championship, gets the pole position point and is going to start the race on pole position, not his first pole position of the season as well. He's been very good, maybe one of the best, if not the best qualifiers of the season. So he'll be wanting to convert that into a strong sprint race result. So that is the grid, and we've got a 15-minute sprint race followed by a 40-minute feature race. So we're going to get going straight away, and let's see what happens in the run down to turn 1. Hopefully it's all clean. We've got 5 lights on. And the lights are out and we're off. It looks like Skinsy got a slightly better start than Claus, and Claus did the Porsche, which we know starts very slowly. Hurricane has got past Skinsy's got past Claus as well, but it looks like Denz is still holding on to the lead for now. And he's having to defend a lot. There's Peaky behind him in P6, but only 1 car length behind. Looks like Denz has lost the lead there to Hurricane into turn 1. Hurricane has taken the lead of the race for the first time this season ahead of Denz, who has Peaky just behind him, who had an absolutely fantastic start, up 4 positions already, and ahead of Skinsy, who's tucking in just behind him there, and Claus down to 5th, but he's trying to get past Peaky. He's got the inside line for this corner, and it looks like he's actually got past Peaky and Skinsy there, so great little overtaking move. He's trying to get Denz as well. Denz gets shuffled down, and Claus goes from P5 to P2 in a couple of corners. This is great also for Hurricane, who is starting to run away from this fighting pack, and Peaky and Denz now battling. Skinsy's fallen down to P6 there, and Major's managed to get up to P5, so let's rewind and see what happened to Skinsy riding on board. Looks like he's already passed him, so we'll have to rewind that again. So we've got Skidsy battling with Pagel there. And he gets past Pagel, and there's a little bit of contact with the cars ahead, and then Skinsy gets a little punt from behind, and Major just slides on through there. So Skinsy, not a great opening half a lap for him. He's 3 places down on his championship rival Peaky after starting quite a few positions ahead. A little bit further back, we've got a bit of battling going on between Dado and Yuri. Yuri's been shuffled down to 10th now, not had a good start from P5 on the grid there. Falling behind Dado, who's had a lightning start just like his teammate, and Whack as well. But we're going down the, well, it's kind of a straight here. It's a very short straight, and Yuri's going to try and retake P9 from Whack Jumps here. And it looks like he's got it. Good little bit of overtake. He goes really wide into that corner though, and that's going to allow Whack to challenge again. And oh, he's on the gravel and he's at the back. So we are finishing the first lap with Hurricane in P1. Looks like Claus has already closed the gap to him, so that's a pretty good second half of the lap for Claus. A little bit further behind Peaky, and then we've got Dens, Major, and Skinsy. Very fast cars there. I'm not sure any of them will be able to get a move into turn 1. Yep, Skinsy just tucks in behind Major there. Pagel, pretty much where he started in P7, and then there's a bit of a gap to Dado, Whack. Woozy back in the top 10 after a pretty bad start qualifying session. Brian is battling the Mustang of Prime Call there, and it looks like he's won it. Filthy looks like he's going to go past as well in the battle for positions just outside the points here. And they're still side by side. And it looks like Filthy's won that battle. So Filthy, pretty bad start there. He's outside the top 10. Yuri all the way at the back there as well. Oh, it looks like Claus has managed to nab himself a 1.5 second penalty. So let's ride on board and see how this affects him. He had quite a big lead ahead of Peaky. The penalty zone doesn't penalise you too harshly here compared to others. Tracks, and it looks like loads of drivers going wide there. Skinsy down to P7 now. It looks like he went wide, and Claus just keeping hold of P2 there, but it's created an opportunity for the cars behind to try and get P2, especially Peaky, who we will ride on board with a little bit here and see if he can get a good slingshot out the final corner. If you take the corner well, it really does propel you down this very long straight down into turn 1, but it looks like Claus just about has enough for now. Let's see if anyone's close. Looks like Woozy might have a run on Whack Jumps here. Whack has gone defensive into turn 1. Woozy quite late on the brakes, but you can't really sweep around the outside there, and Whack keeps the position for now. They're both slightly out of position going around turn 2. And Woozy's actually gone wide round turn 3 on the entry there, and it might open the door for Filthy to nick P10 off him. Just reconnect my YouTube because it's just gone dead, the internet. Anyway, Woozy's still defending, well, trying to attack Whack Jumps there. Whack isn't closing the gap to Dado ahead of him. So let's see what's happening a little bit further forward. Is Peaky managing to reel in Claus at all? It doesn't look like it at the moment, but he is going purple in this on this third lap of the race. Major's managed to get past Dens there. Dens must have had a penalty, I reckon, and now he's fallen into the clutches of Pagel slightly. So we'll follow Dens and see what happens on the main straight here, because he won't have the slipstream of Major. Major having his best run in the top 4. He's not been in the top 4 for quite a few races. I think he was at the opening round of the season, but anyway, Pagel looks like he's gotten past Dens, and Skinsy has as well. Dens must have gone a bit wide in that final corner. It looks like Woozy's got past Filthy there as well, and someone's had a mistake. Whack Jumps has had a mistake. Let's find out what happened to him. Looks like he's lost it. So Dado's got half a second penalty as well, so he'd have been thinking, I've got a good opportunity here to get past this laggy car, but he goes really wide on the exit, hits the gravel, goes fully in the gravel actually, and he's going to be at the back now as a result. Going into turn 1, you can see Hurricane's got quite a comfortable lead, so Claus, after his 1.5 second penalty, hasn't managed to close the gap much. He was half a second quicker on that last lap, so potentially towards the end of the race Claus could have a chance of nabbing another sprint victory here. Peaky losing a bit of ground to Claus now as well. There's some gaps opening up in the top. Dens is probably got the closest battle behind him with Pagel all over the back of him. So Pagel showing some good race pace here after not the best qualifying. Then Dado's not too far behind either, but he's going to be serving a half second penalty and dropping away a little bit in a couple of corners time. So Dens, remember, started on pole position and he's already outside of the top 5. He's got a lot of work to do if he's going to salvage something from this race. He's also behind the top 2 in the championship. So Pagel looked as if he was going to have a move and then looked a little bit again. There's been contact and that is not a good move at all. Pagel, well, he's in P6 and it looks like Dens is outside of the top 10 there. He's near the back now. That must be so frustrating to happen. Let's ride on board with Dens and watch the replay of that. So he just gets nudged and then he gets nudged again. I'm quite shocked that that never got reported. That's pretty horrendous there. And then Dens, I'm not sure what he's doing. He's not. Oh, he got reset to track. I think maybe he's had an issue with accelerating again after that. There was no inputs on his acceleration or his brakes after that contact, so I'm not quite sure what happened. Maybe that's why he didn't report him. He might have had a controller glitch or something, and that resulted in Pagel accelerating into him. Maybe give Pagel a bit of benefit of the doubt there, but that's first to last challenge almost complete for Dens, and he might be starting the reverse grid race on pole as well. So how is it looking at the front? Claus got another 1 second penalty, so that'll be 2.5 seconds worth of penalties. He could be leading this race if he didn't get that first penalty, and now he might lose a spot to Peaky here. Peaky in the Beetle might just inherit P2 quite easily here, and if he gets P2, that could open the door for an unlikely win from 7th on the grid for Peaky. Because Hurricane's not too far ahead. I would say Hurricane's maybe between 3 and 4 seconds ahead of Peaky at the moment. Can you get a penalty even if you weren't reported? No, for on-track incidents like that, you have to be reported by the driver that you affected. Otherwise, the stewards aren't going to be looking at it because we don't have time to go through every race and see what all the incidents were. We have jobs to do and all that kind of stuff. Claus loses P2 there to Peaky, so quite an easy one. Claus is probably going to try and attack him on the straight if he can get a good slick shot out the final corner. But yeah, no, because it's luck of the draw whether a commentator sees you, so we wouldn't be, looking at things if the driver themselves decide not to report it. So fastest lap so far is with Claus is a 40.5. They can go a little bit faster than that maybe, but the tyres, if you look at Peaky's for example, his tyres are starting to go off already, and it's only lap 6. We're halfway through the sprint race, so I don't think we'll be seeing anyone beating Claus fastest lap, to be honest. Major's still a solid P4. Skinsy's in P5 now, and Pagel's in P6. So Skinsy might be able to take this position off Major. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. Ooh, brakes really late there. I think that was a slight mistake there from Skinsy, but he manages to avoid the contact there with Major. Major goes a bit wide into the corner. I think maybe he saw Skinsy coming a little bit, so took evasive action, and they both survive another day. It looks like Claus has another half-second penalty, as does Pagel behind these two, so maybe Claus will be falling into the clutches of Major and Skinsy here. But look at Major's tyre. I've just noticed his front left tyre is almost completely red. Major is a pad user, and the Gen X is... oh, he goes really wide into the hairpin. The Gen X is really unkind on pad users in terms of tyre life. Pretty good for wheel users though. It's probably got the biggest difference in tyre management between pad and wheel. So maybe not the best choice of car this season for pad user. I wouldn't recommend it if you are a pad user and you're thinking of cars for next season. The Gen X is going to punish you. And now Major's coming under threat from Skinsy. Skinsy's got the inside line for the corner. It should be fairly straightforward for Skinsy to get this position unless he messes up turn one. Gonna have to brake nice and early to make sure he hits the apex. It doesn't collect Major. Major backs out of it, and Skinsy has P4 and has a potential for salvaging a podium here after a bit of a shoddy start for Skinsy. What's happening a little bit further up? Oh, it's a 1 second penalty for Claus. He must have served the half second last lap though, and now he's got a 1 second, so that shows you how close he is with to Peaky, how little the half second penalties really impact you around this track. 1 second is a lot worse though, because it's 1 second on the brakes. We have 3.5-ish minutes plus the rest of the lap on the 15th lap, so I think just 3 laps left of this race. There's the 1 second penalty. He's going to slow down. We're going to see Skinsy start to approach him, but not too much actually. He's 1.8 seconds down on his fastest lap so far after 2 sectors. Goes a bit wide there. That could be another penalty. Let's wait and see if it happens. I might have got away with it. I think Claus is another pad user, and look at his tyres as well. Pretty much the same as the tyres that we saw on Major. Major's completely dropped off the back of Skinsy, but Dado is a long way behind him as well. He's got completely red front left tyre there. So he might be able to manage it for the rest of the race. Well, I saw Hurricane really far to the right there. I don't know if he was trying to break the toe or anything, but no dramas. A little bit further back, we've got Filthy ahead of Pagel now, the 2 Lexus teammates, so he got past him on the previous lap. And then rounding out the top 10 is Woozy and Kanata from last on the grid. He's in the top 10 because the drivers behind have had a bit of a shocker, and he's putting in some solid laps. 41.9, that's 1.4 seconds slower than the fastest lap. And he did a 43.4 on the last lap as well, so not showing tier 3 pace at the moment is Kanata. Half second down on his fastest on this lap as well. Let's see, is any battling going on? Even at the front. So let's have a little check at on the lap times. Hurricane, last 2 laps were a 42 flat and a 42.7. Peaky's were a 41.8 and a 42.1. So he is reeling him in. Maybe in a lap or 2 he'll be right behind him. And that's bad news for Hurricane. Hurricane's got, well, he's got completely red front left tyres. And remember, this Subaru is pretty good on the tyres. I think Hurricane, as we had a little battle for P3 there, looks like Skinsy might nick P3 off of Claus. And he's going to go around the outside, around that little awkward chicane, and Claus wins for now. So we'll stick with this battle for now. And Skinsy might be able to take advantage of the slipstream again, just like he did with Major. He stayed very close, and Claus has gone defensive already. The Mazda has a much better straight line speed than the Porsche, and Skinsy's already ahead, and already a full car length ahead. He's going defensive, and Claus is going to try and get in his slipstream and try and move around the outside. Goes really deep into the corner, and he does get the position for now, but Skinsy's going to fight around the outside again, and Skinsy gets that position and takes P3 off of Claus. So onto the podium, both of our championship rivals and Hurricane right at the top. Hurricane is nose to tail with Peaky. Peaky's wants the race win here for P7 on the grid. Now Hurricane's going to have to put the defense of his life in, because that Subaru on a straight line isn't great, so he's going to have a really strong end to the lap. He's got worse tyres as well than Peaky. Oof, I thought Peaky was going to have a little look there, but he decided not to, which was good. And we might get... Well, Peaky's going to try and get alongside and overtake around the outside of the hairpin. He's going to have to brake a lot later. Hurricane's not giving him much room, but he goes deep into the corner and loses P1 as a result. Peaky is our race leader, and he's got a great... and it's the final lap. We've just got over 15 minutes, so the perfect time, maybe the last opportunity for Peaky to get the win, and he took full advantage of it because of a bit of a mistake from Hurricane braking too late on dead tyres. Peaky's going to round the final corner and take the checkered flag. Great victory for Peaky, and he's going to extend his lead. Hurricane P2, Skidsy gets P3, so loses a few points there to Peaky. Claus gets P4. Filthy gets P5. Major drops to P6 on his dead tyres. Dado a solid P7 for him. Pagel dropped down to 8th in the end. Kanata in 9th from last on the grid. Dens in 10th. Woozy 11th, so just misses out on the points. And then we've got Brian, we've got Yuri going very slowly because he wanted to start further up on the grid, which we hate to see. The rules are going to change next season, so that won't even be happening. And Whack Jamps will get reverse grid pole there. So, pretty exciting sprint race there. Love a good last lap overtake for the lead. Battles all the way up and down the grid as well. There's the feature race. And that gives Skinsey, I think, an extra 5 points in the championship. So Peaky's going to have an 8-point lead over Skinsey now. I keep getting those two names mixed up. They're too similar, and they're the ones that are at the front. But Skinsey's going to have 2 positions on Peaky at the start of this race. So... looks like we are in. Let's have a quick nosy at the tyres. Is anyone going to be on the softs? Mediums for everybody by the looks of it. No one wants to be on the softs when the car is at its heaviest. You can get an extra, definitely an extra lap, maybe an extra 2 laps on lower fuel on the soft tyres. But let's get the feature race on the go, because it is a 40-minute feature race. Whack Jamps on pole in the Mazda. He has won feature race in... no, he didn't. He won the sprint race in Spa. He has won plenty of feature races in his career in ALR, though. And he will be leading us down into turn 1 with Yuri just behind him on the medium tyres. It looks like... Yuri's going to try and go for the lead here. Yuri backs out of it, and then we've got Prime Call just behind him as well. And Woozy... Brian actually trying to get past Woozy there, but Prime Call there, but Prime Call goes a bit defensive, now goes a little bit... excuse me. Goes a little bit wide, and it looks like we're 3 wide into turn 4. And Prime Call leads ahead of Woozy now, who's got past Brian. They're still battling, though, into turn 6. And everyone is incredibly close together. Don't really know who to follow, but it looks like this battle, these guys have been side by side for the entire lap, and they're still not giving each other an inch. Woozy looks like he's got the position finally, but Brian might once again try a move down at the hairpin. Looks like a little bit of contact further back. One of the drivers has fallen to the rear. And a pretty good opening lap for Whack Jamps and Yuri. They haven't been battling like these cars behind, and they have built maybe a 2-second gap ahead of these other guys. Oh, Whack goes really wide there into the penultimate corner. He has to really nail this last one because Yuri's going to be all over the back of him. And we might see an overtake for the lead into lap 2 of the race. Yeah, Whack isn't defending, but Yuri thinks better of it and doesn't go for the move there. A little bit further back, Prime Call, Woozy, Brian and Den's now battling, so Den's falling backwards here, and Brian's falling backwards, and he's got a half-second penalty. Den's is up to P5, and he's got a good chance of potentially winning this race, Den's. Peaky's already up to P8, by the way, and ahead of Skidsy once again. Skidsy is down in 13th, then we've got Filthy and Pagel, who must have had problems. But right at the front, we have Yuri still all over the back of Whack. He's showing really good pace at the start of this feature race, pace that we haven't seen so far in this season in ALR from Yuri. Usually in the features he's falling back, but actually Whack is having all the problems. He's struggling to take a lot of these corners, and that is as a result of all the pressure that he's under from Yuri, and it's actually caused Prime Call to close up the gap, because well, Yuri's having a little go at every corner, and Whack's making mistakes every other corner, and he's having to go defensive. Yuri might get the switch back here, and they're still side by side into this fast chicane. Is Yuri going to be... Yeah, Yuri's swooped around the outside there. He's still going around the corner though, and it looks like he's got that position done, and now Whack's going to come under pressure from Prime Call. So it looks like Yuri has taken the lead of the race, and he's got an opportunity here, if he nails the final corner, to start driving away from Whack a little bit, and if Whack keeps making these mistakes, it could create a bit of a gap for Yuri, and he could be on for a really strong result. There we go, Whack and Prime Call are side by side. Prime Call looks like he backs out of it into turn 1, and Whack keeps the position for now. All out of shape for turn 2 though, and that, like I said, is going to allow Yuri to start building a little bit of a gap. Now Prime Call's under pressure from Woozy because he was put out of position trying to get the overtake on Whack done, and because it's failed, he might lose P3 to Woozy. Turn 4, oh, Whack's got a penalty as well, half second there. Woozy's got P3 for Prime Call. Now Prime Call's going to have to defend from Woozy's teammate, Den's. So, yeah, Prime Call is struggling a little bit. The Ford Mustang is... you can get some decent lap time out of the Ford Mustang. Oof, all out of shape for Woozy. I think he's trying to get the move done on Whack a little bit earlier. Let's follow Whack as he's got this half-second penalty, because these guys are really close behind. I think he's definitely going to lose the spot to Yuri, to Woozy, I should say. Yep, Woozy just breezes on through, and he's all of a sudden in P2. Whack keeps P3 for now, though. It looks like some battling a little bit further back between Brian and Peaky there as well. This is all, like I said, great news for Yuri. He's got probably a 3-second lead at this point. Woozy is a very quick guy though, and if he'll be able to close the gap if he has the composure to put in some solid lap times, although he was a lot slower than Yuri in qualifying. Whack now maybe coming under pressure from the Mustang there. Looks like everyone's trying to have a go down the main straight. Den's considering a move on Prime Call, but backs out of it. Brian's at P6, Peaky's at P7, Major just behind at P8, and then we got Hurricane. Really good start for Hurricane, he's in 9th. Claus making up a few positions as well. Then we got Dado, Filthy, Skinsy. Still struggling Skinsy to make it through the field at this moment in time. And then Pagel and Kanat's had a mistake somewhere. He is off the back of the pack. So Woozy is not really getting away from Whack here, and Denz looks like he's going to get the move done on Prime Call around the outside of turn 5, I think that is, or maybe 6. And he's up to P4, so Whack is next on his target list, and Brian's trying to follow him through on Prime Call there, but he has to back out of it. Let's ride on board with Brian and see what he can do. A mistake from Whack is going to gift Denz P3 there, and potentially, oh, he hits Prime Call, and that's going to allow Brian to sweep past both of them into the hairpin. And oh no, Denz, oh my god, Denz is having the unluckiest race. Starting on pole, look at this, he's just swept into P3, and he's going to brake where he's meant to. Whack just completely obliterates him. He could have had P2 from Woozy as well. He's got rear bumper damage. Oh dear. That is that would be quite a big penalty if it was reported to the stewards as well. I think probably a 10-second penalty. Denz is now down to P7, behind Peaky, behind Major as well, who were not troubling him at all, and now he might lose the spot to Hurricane because he still has damage as well. This was great news for Brian though. Look, he's up into P3 now. I'm not sure what happened to Wack. Where is Wack? Wack is all the way at the back. See there, he's down in 14th. So maybe that's why Denz didn't report him, because he'd already kind of relegated himself to the back of the grid. It's like Denz has stabled himself a little bit and can try and push a little bit more. He must have been swearing at the screen when this happened. He's still got Hurricane for company. Let's see what's happening a bit further up. So quite a comfortable lead for Yuri. Woozy's got a half-second penalty, so he's going to potentially lose this position now to Brian. Hasn't really been able to close the gap to Yuri either. He's actually going a bit slower, actually 1.7 seconds slower in that previous lap. And this lap's not going to be too impressive either. So if Brian can keep close enough around this last corner. Oh, he might get a penalty himself there. Let's see. Yep, he was trying it around the outside, and now he's going to get the switch back on Woozy. Woozy goes deep, just like we saw with Hurricane in the sprint race. Brian now gets P2. And Peaky is swooping around Prime Call. He's gotten himself into P4. So, lots of incidents, and once again we see Peaky just... the cards just fall perfectly for him in every race, and he just manages to find himself near the front of the grid. And now he's got he's got an opportunity to get a double win here, because the three ahead of him, I don't think he finishes behind them very often. So something strange would have to happen for Peaky to not get a win here, I reckon. Looks like Prime Call might be trying to get past him again. Prime Call goes for it. Peaky's gonna, well, Peaky saw it, left the space, and he's going to keep the position, and now Major's gonna try and get involved in on this, and Hurricane as well, Denz I should say. It's so close between these guys. Looks like we're going 3 wide into turn 4, and Major's actually come out best in that. He's wide into turn 4 though. He's had to take the wide line because Prime Call's car was still there, but it looks like he's got it, and he's got the inside line for the next corner. Oh, it makes a little bit of contact, but it didn't cause any drama. And that's P5 for Major, so better feature race so far. Look at his front left again though. We're only on, well, we're 9 minutes into a one-stop 40-minute race, and has probably got maybe three more laps maybe left on that front left tyre. So we'll see him maybe start to fall back a little bit. Denz is trying to, actually, considering Denz's problems, he's still not far away from the race lead in terms of time. Oh, really wide there for, that is Claus. No, it's not, it's Dado. And now Skinsy has managed to get himself up into P11, so he's managed to get past Filthy there. And his recovery drive starts now. He shouldn't really be on a recovery drive because it started ahead of Peaky, who's in P4 here. Solidly ahead of these guys who all look like they're about to be battling. Den's going to be trying a move on Prime Call. Let's see, he's got the inside line and he's got the slipstream from Major. Don't know if Major's doing that intentionally, but now Major's gone over to Prime Call to maybe give him a little bit of slip, which is a tactic we quite often see in ALR, like spread the slipstream around so that they battle each other and don't bother you in the front. Prime Call going a little bit wide in turn 3 again. That is opening the door for Denz, who kept it as tight as possible. Now if Denz is brave on the brakes, actually Prime Call is incredibly brave on the brakes, goes a bit deep into turn 4, and they're still side by side, and we can see Major starting to extend on them a little bit as they continue battling. Prime Call gets the corner, hits the apex, nails the exit, and keeps P6 for now. A little bit further back we've got Claus now, who managed to get past Hurricane at some point, and now he's all over the back of these guys. The Porsche is very good on the mediums. He's had to really back out there because these guys in front not negotiate. Oh, he might be getting a penalty. Let's see. Claus very fast, but he's received a lot of penalties so far in this race. deep there from Prime Call. That's allowed Dens to just swoop through. And finally Dens is past Prime Call. And now we might see Claus maybe think about having a go. Claus taking the entry into the corner the correct way. Prime Call taking a little bit too much of the track. You have to mount the banana curve to get the best angle and take the most speed through that final corner. Claus knows that, and that's why he's got a run on Prime Call. He's going to have to go around the outside of turn 1. If he can brake later, Prime Call nailing his brakes though. It looks like the Mustang's got a pretty good set of brakes on it, but Claus gets the position anyway, and he's up into P7. Prime Call falling back a little bit now. Now Hurricane will be the next one in his sights. Now a bit further back, Skidsy's now in the top 10, so he's got past Dado. And then we got Filthy, Whack Jams, Pagel struggling, and Kanata all the way at the back there, but he's caught up to the pack at least. Look at this lead Yuri's got. There's the cars all the way in the distance. Maybe 5, maybe 6 seconds. Woozy now holding up Peaky for P3. Peaky's got past Brian now, and Peaky's in the podium positions. He'll want to get past Woozy as quickly as possible. Woozy goes wide into the entry into the chicane, but it's not really an overtaking spot for Peaky. He might have an opportunity on this little mini straight where the penalty line is into the hairpin. He's definitely close enough to try something. Is Peaky going to be brave enough under the brakes? He is. They avoid contact, and Woozy has to go a little bit wide. Looks like Peaky's got that position off Woozy there, and he's up into P2 already. Now Woozy might lose another position here to Brian, who they've both been very close all race. Brian's got the inside line for the next corner. It looks like, oh, Woozy's gone wide into the gravel. He's come back on. Oh, he's down into P7. Brian's into P3. Major on his almost dead mediums is in P4, so he's doing pretty well. Den's back into the top 5 after his unfortunate incident with Whack Jams earlier in the race. And then we've got Claus, who's inherited P6. And then Prime Call in 7th. Not under any sort of pressure from Woozy, but Woozy's under pressure from Hurricane now, so both of them, once in at the very front of the grid, are risking falling outside of the top 10 here. Just keep going backwards lap after lap, unfortunately, and Woozy loses that position to Hurricane. Hurricane now going to be chasing down Prime Call. Everyone's so close to each other as well. So Brian's looks like he's going a little bit sideways through some of these corners, and it's going to open the door for Major. Major, of course, regular in F1, so he knows this track like the back of his hand. Most of these guys should know the track like the back of the hand. It's on every single game. And Brian's lost it again! Every single round we see Brian make a spin. That was a perfect spin though. Lost minimal time there, but he is down into 10th. He's lost that position to Skidsy, so that's great news for Skidsy in his championship fight. He's up into 9th now. We got Woozy 8th, Hurricane 7th, Prime Call 6th, and now we've got Dens trying to fend off Claus for P4 here. Looks like Claus might be thinking about a move, and he goes for it. Major in P3 going wide around the corner. Dens try to get the move back on Claus, and he keeps P4 for now, but under a lot of pressure. All this fighting's helping Major out a lot as well. Now let's see if Peaky manages to set the fastest lap of the race. Now he's finally in some clear air, because that will tell us if he's able to catch up to Yuri. So Yuri's got the fastest lap with a 42 flat. Peaky has not set the fastest lap. He set a 42.8. Yuri set a 42.2. So Yuri's still extending his lead by 0.6 that lap. Major is going to be under a lot of pressure now because of his tyres, so we will stick with this battle for P3. Number 69, I just saw that. Love it. Major putting in some pretty decent sector 1 though. Pretty much his fastest of the race, and he needs to be nailing every corner here, because a little mistake will let Dens through. Dens has shown the pace so far this race. Oh! Someone went really sideways there. I'm not sure who that was. I think we need to rewind that. It was Hurricane power sliding through turn 6, I think that is. And now Skinsy's right behind him. Skinsy's going to be sniffing this easy position because of that mistake. And oh, the cutback was fantastic there from Hurricane. He keeps P7. And now Skinsey's still trying moves though. And he's gonna definitely have a go down into the hairpin here. He's gonna be brave on the brakes. He's going for it. Woozy's right behind as well, so we might see. Oh, Hurricane goes a bit wide, and that's going to allow Skinsey through. And is it also going to allow Woozy through? Hurricane and Woozy going side by side round the chicane there. Hurricane takes a little bit of grass. And Woozy is just about ahead, but Hurricane's got the inside line for the last two corners, and he's going to keep the position, at least for now. Major's had an incident. Oh, what's happened, Major? P3. He's trying to go into the pits, and he hits the wall. Oh, dear me. Let's watch that again. So, you take this entry in third gear. Not like that. He was in the right gear. He maybe should have gone down to second because his tyres were completely dead. And that, look, he's all the way down into 11th place even before he enters the pits from third. So that releases Dens to try and put in some solid laps and consolidate this podium. Prime Call is still pretty close behind him, and Claus. This battle for P3 is now between these guys. Skinsey in P6 now. He's not actually that far away from third place, so definitely a good chance for a podium for Skinsey. And what about Yuri? Yuri's set at 42.4 and a 42.9 for Peaky. So Yuri still half a second a lap quicker than Peaky. It's looking unlikely, unless Yuri makes a mistake, that I think he might have this one in the bag. Peaky P2, he's got quite a big lead ahead of Dens, and then we've got Prime Call starting to hold up Claus a little bit now, by the looks of things. So Claus be really desperate to get behind. He hasn't got any penalties for quite a few laps now, Claus. So he's maybe settled into a bit of a rhythm, and that's why he's in the top 5. Prime Call going defensive. He does hit. Prime Call's been much better than some of these other drivers at making sure he hits the apex. Quite a few drivers have overshot trying to be defensive in that corner, but Prime Call has pretty much nailed all these corners. Ooh, did he cut that one though? He really took it tight. Skinsey is the first of our front runners to make the pit lane whilst being a front runner. So let's see what the undercut does for Skinsey. I did hear that the Mazda is a bit legendary on tyres around this track. Makes it a bit overpowered for the feature race. Looks like Claus is finally... Oh, I spoke too soon. Finally got P4? I don't think so, because Prime Call has put in a fantastic defensive performance so far today. Probably would have put him in the driver of the day category if I'd have seen this before I put the question out, because this is faultless defensive driving by Prime Call, exactly what we want to see in ALR. Really, really good. Oh, Claus is sending it though, and it looks like he's might finally have that position from Prime Call. He must have held Claus up by 4 or 5 seconds at least by being stuck behind and all this battling that's been going on. Lapping in the 43s and 44s the last 3 laps. But Claus finally gets P4. I don't think he'll be coming into the pits just yet either. What about Yuri? Yuri's a 43.5 there, and looked like he was a bit slow through that corner as well. So maybe struggling a little bit on the tyres now. 43.5 as well for Yuri though, so actually not managing to make up any time at all. Meanwhile, Den's 1.1 seconds quicker than the front two, so don't rule out Den's yet. So despite that punt at the hairpin, he is still in contention for this race win. Let's see where Skinsey came back out. So Skinsey is in P12. Well, it's difficult to say because I don't think anyone else has properly come into the pits. Yuri's carried on again. I think pretty much everyone is carrying on for another lap, apart from Hurricane. Hurricane pits. So Hurricane's going to get probably a 1-lap undercut on this field. And everyone else... Oh, a bit wide there for Whack. Well, Skinsey's going to get at least a 2-lap undercut on a lot of the field. And remember, they were pretty close together, so he could end up after this, probably maybe in P3, I would predict after everyone comes into the pits. I think Yuri and Piki were too far ahead. Potentially Den's too far ahead, but Primecall not fallen behind Claus after getting overtaken, so he's stuck with him pretty well there. Filthy with the Lexus, which has quite a good tank on it, maybe we'll be able to jump Primecall anyway in the pits. Maybe not Claus, because Claus has a good tank on it on that Porsche as well. If he can close the gap a little bit, then he might be able to do that. Let's follow Yuri. Let's see. He's gonna round the last couple of corners. He's still got some life left on those medium tires, so I think he could do another lap. But let's see. I think lap 13 is probably the right time to pit, because these guys will not get the maximum number of laps, or they shouldn't, because this is tier 3 out of the 40 bit. No, he's carrying on again. Piki, what about Piki? Piki's coming in and he nails the pit entrance, as does Den's. Claus, what's Claus gonna do? Claus is carrying on, Primecall's carrying on, Filthy's carrying on for another lap as well. Brian's coming in, Kanata and Woozy are both coming in. So Woozy down in P9 there. Whackjamps is also coming in. So let's follow Skinsy, who's got his indicator on for some reason. Let's see where he comes out when this... I would predict he will come out just behind Piki and just ahead of Den's. But let's see if my predictions are anything anything to rely on. Sets the fastest lap. He's got a chance of jumping everybody. It looks like Piki and Den's are on their way out of the pits, but Skidsy's managed to jump them with that 2-lap undercut. Skidsy has, well, he's the race leader for everyone who's pit, so he's in net P2 because he's not going to get close to Yuri if he's only just ahead of Piki there. So Piki and Den's lost out one position there to Skinsy, and that was a great tactical move from Skinsy, pitting 2 laps early. Will it come back to haunt him at the end of the race? Will his tyres last? Because these guys have 2-lap fresher tyres. He's got purple again there. So Piki's got a hard job to do if he's going to beat Skinsy on track here. He's going to have to catch and pass him. And Skinsy looks like he's got the bit between his teeth now, because a 40.7 is pretty fast. That's 0.2 slower than the fastest lap in the sprint race. I forgot what I was saying there. What about a little bit further down? How is everyone shaken out after the pit stops? Pagel is ahead of Hurricane, so he's made an early stop as well. And he's just ahead. So Claus and Primecall have come into the pits. It looks like Yuri is staying out another lap. So let's ride on board once again with Skins. Looks like he's still stretching. I expect him to set another fastest lap here. If he does, I think he's comfortably ahead of all these guys who've just got into the pits. They might come out in between Dens and Pagel, I reckon. Well, they haven't started refueling yet, and Skinsy's passing them, so that's a comfortable P2 there. And then we've got P3. Dens is going to come out ahead of them as well. What about Pagel? Pagel's quite a way further behind. So he's going to get one. He's not going to get Claws though. It looks like Hurricane's got past Filthy as well. So more work to do for Filthy. He's only in P8. My dog is doing something very strange. I think she's seen a spider. So Pagel all over the back of Claws here. Claws' tyres will be a bit cold, and that is probably why he went a little bit wide there. Creates an opportunity for Pagel to try and get past him. Right, Yuri is finally in the pits. He's got quite a big lead still, and he's used his full tank on those mediums, so he's going to have incredibly fresh softs for the rest of the race. Let's see if this works out strategy-wise, because he has pit... how many laps? Maybe 4 laps later than Skinsy, so Skinsy's going to have a 4-lap undercut on him, maybe 2 seconds a lap, maybe 3 seconds a lap quicker at points. So maybe Yuri's lead is going to disappear here. Hopefully he knows how much fuel to put in for the rest of the race. Skinsy's, well, the top 3 have already rounded the final bend, so it's going to be touch and go. Looks like Skinsy and Peaky. Skinsy has got past him. He's lost the race lead because he's waited a little bit too long there. Call out a rookie error in terms of strategy, and the top 2 of the championship are now 1-2 in the race as well, with Dens breathing down the back of Yuri. So Yuri's come back in a battle and he's going to have to fight for the rest of the race. Oh, just 1 second. Right, sorry about that, I had to sort my dog out. Okay. Den's with the fastest lap of the race now with a 40.5, so very similar to the sprint race times that we were seeing. So this has been an interesting race for Peaky at the front here. He had a very anonymous start of the race while Peaky tore through the field, but he just demonstrated how strong the undercut was here and managed to take full advantage of it to jump everybody without having to do a single overtake, to be honest. Now he's leading the pack. Hurricane tried to pit on the same lap, but he's only in P7, so it didn't work out quite as well for him. Yuri coming under pressure here from Dens now. Dens should be in the lead of the race if he wasn't wiped out at the start. He has had to battle his way back through, and even despite all that, he's still only maybe 3 or 4 seconds off the race lead. What happened to Prime Call? Where did he go? He's down in P9 and stuck behind Pagel now, who's dropped a couple of positions. He was ahead of Filthy after the pit sequence because he was another one who pit early. Where's Major? I think Major may have quit after hitting the pit barrier. These top 4 lapping very close together. Skinsy's not, well actually he was 8/10 slower than his fastest lap on that previous one, so he needs to, and then 41.5 there for Skinsy compared to a 41.1, so he's lost 4/10 to Peaky there. A little bit of breaking the tour an attempt, but everyone just followed. Yuri a 40.8, that's his fastest lap of the race, and he is catching up, a 40.8 as well for Dens, lapping really solidly there. And then a huge gap back to Claus, 40.6 for him. Filthy 40.6 as well, 40.7 for Hurricane, then a 41.2 for Pagel, 41.8 for Prime Call stuck behind Pagel, 41 flat, and then these guys are not lapping quickly. So yeah, it looks like the mid-pack are lapping a lot quicker than the front pack in this race. Quickest of the top 4 though is Dens for sure, and that is bad news for Yuri, and probably the slowest is Skinsy because of his tyres. So these guys might stay pretty close together for the entirety of the rest of the race. Got the top 3 in the championship, and then we've got Yuri, who is completely out of place here. I'd love to know where he found this pace from, because he hasn't been showing it so far this season. Don't know if Barcelona is just his best track. Maybe it's a sign of things to come, and we're going to have a really strong end to the season from Yuri. It'll be nice to see. Yuri is benefiting a little bit from slipstream there from Peaky, and that might save him from an overtake, but maybe I've spoken too soon, because it looks like Dent is going to have a go and try and get P3 off Yuri. And Yuri leaves the space, but Dent did back out of it there. Dent wasn't entitled to the space, he wasn't close enough, and that's why he backed out. But Yuri doing the clever thing and leaving the space anyway, just in case there was ascend. Goes a little bit wide around turn 3 on the exit, but Dent can't close in. Actually set his fastest, well, the purple sector 1 there, and he's pretty close to Peaky now, so he could potentially nick P2 off Peaky if Peaky keeps going wide like he has done these last couple of corners. Good news for Skinsy. Insanely close battle for P4. So, yeah, Peaky looks like he is struggling a little bit on this lap. He did pit earlier than Yuri, and it looks like Dent's got himself a 1.5 second penalty. That's a huge penalty that will drop him off the back of this fight for the podiums. It might have cost Dent a podium actually. What can Yuri do? Let's ride on board. He's not close enough at the moment to try and get an overtake done, but let's just see how he negotiates these corners. Goes down into second to make sure he hits it, because there is a little bit of dirty air in front of him. There's a wider entrance into turn 3 than Peaky does. He is in this, well and truly in the slipstream right now. He has a little look, but wow, 1.5 tenths quicker than the fastest lap so far in sector 1. That's really quick from Yuri. I get a feeling that if Yuri had pit maybe a lap earlier, he'd be ahead of these guys, and not he wouldn't be held up essentially, and he might have been able to run away with it. So a bit of a missed opportunity here to get his first win in ALR. But that's fine, most people don't get their first win in their first season. It's quite a rare achievement. Yeah, look how far Dent has fallen behind Yuri. Really late on the brakes there for Yuri, but he manages to avoid contact, and he's still incredibly close to Peaky. Peaky loses traction, and Yuri thought about trying this little move on the penultimate corner, and he really messed up that last corner there. He kind of braked on the banana curve, and that's lost his momentum. He's still pretty close to Peaky. He might be able to have a look into turn 1. Mercedes, I don't think, has the best straight line speed. It did get a little physics change in the latest update, a little bop change. I don't know how that impacted the fastest, you know, the top speed kind of on the car. It used to be absolutely atrocious on top speed. But we're racing on Le Mans next week, and that will be very telling. So if it's getting gobbled up on the straights, then we know that the update may have made it a little bit faster, but not good on the straights, or it's just made it in one of the best cars on the grid. I mean, it must be, because Yuri's managed to find all this pace. So despite Peaky's little micro mistakes that we've seen over the last couple of laps, he's still not that far away from Skinsy. Skinsy lapping a 40.1, 3 tenths quicker than Peaky. But this lap he's getting caught He's still got better tyre life than Peaky. Peaky is a pad player, and that is the reason why. Although he has just bought a nice shiny new wheel, so I don't know if he's going to be racing on the wheel in Le Mans. It can be a bit of an adjustment moving from pad to wheel initially, but it should work out in his favour in the long run. Half a second for Yuri. Oh, that might be his challenge on Peaky done with. Let's have a little look what's going on a little bit further down. Actually, let's just see, is Yuri going to be able to close the gap here? Because if he can get ahead of Peaky, he could just keep that position. He's nowhere near close enough. What about further down? Denz dropped back 2 seconds there because of that penalty that he had. Claw's lapping incredibly quickly. Same as Filthy, these two are the guys that are on fire at this stage of the race, still lapping in the 40s. These, side by side between Primecall and Woozy. Primecall is trying to make his way back through the field. He got past Hurricane, who's right there. He's got a 2-second penalty. And Hurricane's actually going to get past Primecall because he was trying to get P7. He's going to end up P9, at least for now. Hurricane might want a move on Woozy as well. Actually, he's not going to get close enough. And I think he lets Primecall through. Maybe it wasn't the cleanest moves and he lets it back. Pagel in P10 now, so he's recovered into the top 10, but he has half a second penalty. Brian, we saw with his spin, he's still outside the top 10. Whack after his calamity in 12. Kanata's dropped all the way down to 13th after doing pretty well at this opening part of the race. And Dado, I'm not sure what's happened, but he's close to getting lapped. But at the front, Skinsy stretched a little bit there on Peaky. Yuri's half-second penalty didn't actually penalise him that much. He's still very close to Peaky. He might not have the opportunity to get P3 off him on this lap though. As you round the corner again, this will probably be the final lap for everyone. It might be a bit touch and go for these top 3. Skinsy might actually get the final lap. Looks like Yuri's going for it around the outside. Peaky went very defensive. Really clean move around turn 1. They're still side by side. Looks like Peaky's managed to fend him off for now. 1 second penalty. He must have... that's such a shame. He must have cut one of the corners there in turn 1 and 2, and he's earned himself a 1 second penalty. He's still fighting with Peaky, but that will be music to Peaky's ears. He's gonna get P2 even if Yuri gets past him, and because they're still battling, this is actually allowing Denz to close the gap on Yuri. So let's ride on board with Denz, because look, he's reeling them in pretty quickly. A 1 second penalty is very detrimental as well for Yuri. He might lose his podium spot after being in the top 3 for the entire race. He might lose it. Yeah, look at that. Much better exit from Dent. He had the momentum and he's just going to swoop past. He's going to get a podium for his troubles today, Dent, which is, to be honest, he deserves a podium after the great drive that he put in to get P3. Skidsy, however, is going to triumph by the looks of things. He's got 2 more corners and a fantastic undercut after a bit of an anonymous start for Skidsy, and he's going to win in Catelunya, the feature race, close the gap by a few points to Peaky at least, and takes the victory. Oh, he actually gets the final lap. Peaky doesn't though, Denz doesn't, and Yuri doesn't. So that's your 2, 3 and 4. Claus gets P5 at the end, Filthy in P6. Then we got a little bit of a gap. Looks like Primecall's actually won out this battle in the midfield in the end. So I don't know what happened to Woozy and Hurricane, but he looks like he's pretty much on his own. Good, solid P7 for Primecall. Woozy is crossing the line in P8. He could have had a lot better result. Hurricane P9 and Brian in P10. Pagel down in 11, so he's made a mistake on the last lap as well. Then Whack Jamps is going to cross the line in P12. Kanata 13th. Dado is some way off finishing his lap. And Skinsy is on his lap of honour, we should say, because he's the only one to make the final lap in this tier. I think we had 8 of the drivers in tier 1 make the final lap, and the rest of them were within 2 seconds of making the final lap. So basically the top 3 were midfield tier 1 pace essentially on this race, which goes to show how fast these guys have been so far this season. Definitely these 3 have taken a big step up in pace, the top 3 on the podium and the top 3 in the championship as well. So he's going to round the final corner right about now. And he's going to take the checkered flag. No, he's not. He got timed out. That can't be right. Was that the maximum time? No, that must have been an error with the lobby settings. Well, anyway, he still got the win, and let's have a quick look at the championship before I leave you. Actually, I can't because my iPad's died, but I could tell you that Peaky is in first still, Skidsy second, Dens is third, Riaba was fourth, but he didn't race this race, and I think he's been replaced, but I can't tell you who by. But next week we are in Le Mans. It is a dawn start, which I have been told, I don't know how reliable this is, that it is more likely to rain at Le Mans at dawn than it is like during the day. So we'll have to see if we get some weather. It's going to be random, not R3 like we had in Spa. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. It's going to be a very high speed race, so we might see some different cars dominating and some different guys at the top step of the podium. So join us, and thanks for watching.